Well, never mind. They really shouldn't even be here, right? And now we're giving them licenses so at least they can drive around while they are here. The same week that illegals were protesting outside the White House for rights they really shouldn't have because, after all, they're illegal. States across the country trying to keep up with all the illegals now demanding licenses they think they shouldn't get or should get. I think they shouldn't get. It's weird, right? It's upside down world. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and I'm beginning to agree with that California Congresswoman, Barbara Lee, who says she's ashamed to be an American looking at all the treatment we're giving illegals in this country. But I'm ashamed for different reasons. I'm ashamed to be an American looking at the treatment of legal Americans in this country. I'm ashamed to be an American watching our leaders drive this country off a cliff and now giving illegals the keys to the car. My God, did you know? In the Congresswoman's own state, more than 1.4 million illegals will soon be applying for a driver's license in January. California says not to worry, that they won't look like legal Americans' licenses, even though the ones that we spied look pretty damn close. And states that do provide such licenses, there are about a dozen now, tend not to distinguish too much. So look at Illinois' driver's license for illegals. The one on the right is for an illegal, the one on the left is for presumably illegal. Even if you blow that up, I mean, I can't make out the big difference. Of course, no one stamps illegal on a license, do they? This can't be happening, but it is happening. A congresswoman who feels ashamed for a country spending billions to process and educate tens of thousands of illegals dumped here, then provides licenses to illegals so at least they can drive around while they are here, and legalizes this lunacy by allowing illegals who still might feel slighted to protest outside the White House, and not fear getting arrested here. She's ashamed that we're callous. I'm ashamed that there are idiots in Congress this clueless. All right, sorry, I'm a bit riled up, but I am a bit fed up, and I want to know if you are too. You can use hashtag Cavuto to tell me your thoughts. All right, DePiero County, Arizona Sheriff Paul Babu. Sheriff, this is getting crazy now. What do you think?
It's out of control, Neil, and I can tell you that now lawbreakers are being rewarded. And here, this giving driver's license is clearly a function of the individual states, and now the courts are stepping in, ruling that because Obama and his administration have granted deferred action or some kind of legal standing here in the United States, that now we must, as individual states, issue these driver's licenses. This is absurd, and it puts an additional burden on our state. Already, just our state of Arizona has $2.8 billion each and every year for educating, for incarcerating, and providing medical care. Why not just give them licenses now, and what's next?
You know, Sheriff, though, if you think about it, when you give someone a license, however you want to brand it or distinguish it, differentiate it, that is a gateway to a lot of things. That could be an ID that can get you anywhere, dare I say it, even to vote, if they're unsuspecting people handling the polls. So where are we going with this? What is next after this? Because I think it's flipped around. We got to keep in mind these are illegals.
It is. Our country has been turned up on its head, and here now we're rewarding lawbreakers, and states are being forced to sanction this violation, which I think is undermining the rule of law. When the president and his power grab from the executive branch clearly has circumvented the process that the Constitution has laid out. Congress makes the laws, and yet with these executive orders and these fiats from the president, now we're having the same effect as law. And this is where what we've seen happen in the latest waves of unaccompanied juveniles and terming it as a humanitarian crisis, what we're inviting by accepting these 60,000, what's predicted to be 90,000 by October 1st, is actually another wave of 90,000, because there's no consequence. There's no consequence for breaking the law. What would be humanitarian is put them on planes, return them to their country of origin, and reunite them with their families there.
All right, Sheriff, you can stay. I want to bring in my buddies. We got Rick Unger back with us, David Asman, Veronica Dagger. David, this is getting a little weird here. All right, and not only the license thing, protesting outside the White House, and you're an illegal and no one arrests you thing. The Congresswoman saying she's ashamed to be, an American thing. What's happening?
Well, I think the sheriff has it absolutely right. To provide legality for illegal behavior is Orwellian nonsense. This is what the Soviets used to do. Black is white, peace is war, et cetera, et cetera. Our country is based on common sense laws, and when you have laws that contradict other laws, particularly when you get down to the basic law is that act is legal, that act is illegal. You're allowed to do what's legal, you're not allowed to do what's illegal. If you confuse those, you confuse the rule of law in the country, and I'm worried about our republic. I also
worry. We're talking about a January 1st thing in California with these licenses. Other states have it now, Veronica, but I'm more worried what news we could be hearing out of the White House after Labor Day. Timing is everything, but where the president will try to slow millions of deportations, if not stop them outright. Goading Republicans. What is that all about?
It could get messy, and it's definitely going to become an election year issue. I think from a personal finance standpoint, though, I think one of the big issues with this is who's going to pay for all this. They're opening all these offices. It's going to be taxpayer. It's going to be a burden on them, not to mention the insurance premiums of the people in these states. A lot of these people are uninsured, and they're going to continue to be uninsured. So that means higher premiums for all those taxpayers. I think there's ramifications to decisions like this that aren't really thought through, and I don't think the president's addressing. I don't think anyone's really thinking through them.
We do them, and then we pay for them later.
You're all wrong. Good night. Now, look, we've been through this in California for years. Years and years. As long as I was living there, we were having this debate about driver's licenses. Here's the reason to do it. What happens when somebody gets a driver's license? They are far more likely to get insurance on the vehicle they're going to drive. If they don't have a license, they never have insurance.
These folks can't afford that, though. They don't have the money.
No, that's just not true, actually. If they can afford to buy the car, they can afford to buy the insurance.
If an illegal hits you with or without a license.
Where are they going to get the money from?
It's not the license, it's the insurance.
Fine.
It's
But
the insurance.
you're making the assumption then with that license they're insured.
Well, no, they're not insured with the license, but we do have the data. As I say, California went through this for years. If they take the trouble to get the license and they have a car, they're far more likely to have the insurance.
All right, I love her to death, Sheriff. Here's my issue with that, though. We are justifying lunacy. We are trying to say, well, actually, this is to our own betterment. We have millions of them here. If 1.4 million of them in our state, go ahead and get a license. At least if they get in a car accident with you, you'll be protected. In other words, justifying what is already criminal behavior by trying to cut down on any crime against you. It just seems weird. That's all I'm saying. Sure.
Clearly, we're chipping away at the rule of law when you're blessing off on the fact that they're here and they're here illegally. When you're giving them further legal standing here in our country, and then the rest of us are shouted down when we want to put Americans and our families and our rights first for once. Instead of wasting all of this money, the $3.7 billion the president's asked for, why don't we put that money and redirect it to border security? Because each and every time he asks for money, it's a Band-Aid. It's a one-time fix. We don't solve the core issue. We will never get to this, quote, immigration reform until this border is finally secured. And there's no interest on behalf of the president to get this done.
All right.